Hello and welcome to my project for the July 2020 Craftology box. For this I have done a kind of a photo folio. Not quite sure how to describe this one, so I'm just going to walk you through it and then the tutorial will follow right after. So what we've got is we've got a shaker that goes all the way through from the front to the inside of the folio, using those adorable frames from Simple Stories. I love those, and this project was actually designed around the Simple Stories frames. So on the front here we've got a couple of stickers. We've got one of the small banner stickers and some chipboard pieces along with the frame. And some of this kind of burlap ribbon that's in your kit. We've got another one of the frames on the inside. You will have shaker elements in your kit. Yours will be a little bit different than mine. In fact, they're going to be much cuter than what I ended up using in here. So again, we've got another frame on the inside. We've got another chipboard piece. On this first flap, we have a pocket back here with just a couple of the cut-aparts in here. And on top of that is a waterfall. We're holding the waterfall closed with this brown twine that is in your kit. And there are 11 pages in this waterfall. It is 4x4. You will use all but 2 of your 4x4 cut-aparts on this waterfall. And you'll fill in those extra spaces either with one of the papers from the solids that are in your kit, or with just one of the pattern papers that's in the kit. This has just one of the stickers from the sticker sheet on the top there. Okay, this opens up. Here I've taken one of the pretty papers from the collection, split it in half, and put top and bottom here so that they tie together. We've got another frame here and here. These are open on the top so that you can stick photos in behind them. I've just got another sticker on there just to kind of accent it and bring in some of that red color. When you fold down, you've got another photo frame here and another one of the stickers. On the first 2 flaps, we've got just a very small kind of tuck pocket with one of the 4x4 cut-aparts made into a little tag with the green twine that's in your kit as a pull. This opens up. We've got just a couple of tuck spots here using stickers from the collection backed on cardstock. We've got another side-loading tuck pocket here and another tag. We've got our one more frame here that is also open on the top so that you can put a picture in there. And then this just opens up. We've got another chipboard piece on this side. We've got one of the stickers on this side that I've actually left loose so you can put something back behind there. And then I've just got the rest of the 6x6 cut-aparts. I don't have these matted because the back side is really a pretty print, so I did just leave those as is. And then the same with the 2x2 cut-aparts that I've cut this one to 4x6, and I've also left that one blank. You could absolutely mat these on solid cardstock if you wanted to. And then we've just got that pretty mushroom paper in the back. This is a really simple project. The hardest part of this, honestly, is making the shaker, and even that's not that hard. So let's get to it. Okay, in your Craftology box, I want you to pull out 1 sheet each of the pattern papers, as well as the matching solids. Set those aside. Out of that, I also want you to really set aside the cut-apart sheets. So we will use all of the 4x4 and then an assortment of the rest of these, including the smaller 2x2. Okay, so set those somewhere where you're not going to accidentally cut into them at this point. We're also going to use some of the the chipboard stickers, the cardstock stickers, and the banner stickers. Okay, and then you should have also gotten the frames. So the last couple, or since last year, on the Simple Vintage lines that Simple Stories has come out with, they've had these frames, and I absolutely love these frames. They are just the cutest things ever as far as I'm concerned. We're going to use all of these in this folio. So you want to pull out the one that has the wooden piece on the side that looks like a Viewmaster reel, and set that one aside. The small one, the small double, the large double, and the other small frame with the small butterfly we'll use at different points in the book, so you can put those off to the side. And then you also need the one with the large butterfly. Start with our chipboard. You're going to have a piece that is 1 inch by 10 for your spine, and then you're going to have 2 pieces that are 6 inches by 10 inches for your cover. I've gone ahead and put score tape on the spine and one of the cover pieces. The other piece, we need to cut the center section out of this, because what's going to happen is we're going to make a shaker that you can see from both sides. Okay, so one of these frames will go on the top, the other frame will go on the bottom, and then we'll have acetate in between here that'll be our shaker. Okay, that's why I want you to pull these two aside, because these are the two that we're going to use for that element. So to cut out our centerpiece, with the 10-inch side facing you, and if you've got a T-square, it actually does make this piece much easier. If not, you can do it with your ruler. It will be just fine. We are going to measure in 2 inches and make a mark. We're going to go to the opposite side, and again 2 inches. And make a mark. And then I'm just going to draw a line. Down both sides. Okay, we're going to turn it. And this time, we're going to go in 7/8 of an inch. Turn it and go 1 inch. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing again. We'll line it up, draw our line down. And this ruler literally was like, I don't know, a couple of dollars at Walmart, I think. So you can get one of these fairly cheap. All right. So now, if you've got a nice metal edged ruler, which the Tim Holtz does have a metal edge on it, but I tend to slip. I've cut into my Tim Holtz ruler more times than I care to admit. We are going to take and cut out this center piece. So if you hold your frame, either of your frames on here, they should line up. And that one is slightly off, so I think my top and bottom measurements are incorrect. Son of a bitch. Okay, we've got our 2-inch measurements. You're going to turn your chipboard. We're now going to go, I'm actually going to get the smaller of my 2 and just kind of line this up and make sure that this is lined up correctly. All right, so from the top and the bottom with it turned with your 6-inch facing you, you're going to go 1 1/8. Turn it around and 1 1/8 again. Okay, and draw your line. Oops. All right. So we're going to take one of our frames again and just make sure when we lay it on here that those lines are running through the center, from what we can tell, that is, of the frame itself. And you're going to try with the other one, and we're good. Okay, so now I'm going to take a metal-edged ruler so that I don't end up cutting into my ruler, because God knows I have done that more times than I care to admit. And craft knife, and I am just going to follow right along here and cut. It will take more than one pass. What I'm actually going to do is just get that started, because once I've got that groove there for my knife to follow along in, I usually can do it without the ruler. I say usually, now watch me screw it up. Okay. And again. And one more time. Okay. All right, so looks like we're good. I am just going to follow along those lines with my knife and cut all the way through. If you can do this with your paper trimmer, go for it. I do that sometimes with my Fiskars one, and I can do it. I just don't necessarily want to overshoot, which, I mean, we're wrapping this in chipboard, so it really doesn't matter if you get just a tiny bit into the space that you're not cutting out. But and this end leaks not quite all the way through. Okay. Just a couple spots here that I need to go back over and just pop them loose. All right, there we go. That's why we don't want to do our score tape just yet, because it makes it that much harder to cut through. Believe me, I've done it by mistake. I know what I'm talking about. All right, so now we can go ahead. We're just going to double check one more time. Okay, so that one lines up good there. When we flip it over, so this is what it would be when it's open. Everything lines up on this side as well. And there you go. You have the base of your shaker. So I am going to take some scraps of my score tape. I'm going to get this on the back side here. Let's not stick it to the There's one piece. And of course, if you don't have the score tape sheets, you could do this with a combination of glue and score tape. You could use just the normal score tape rolls and just, you know, cover the whole thing. It's entirely up to you. I'm sure I'm probably getting another piece that size. Or I can just take my normal score tape and go over that as well. All right. So to cover our chipboard, for the spine, we have one piece that is 4 inches by 12 inches. And for the cover pieces, 2 pieces that are 10 inches. I'm sorry, 8 inches by 12 inches. Okay, so let me grab my scoreboard. And we're going to do this one first because it's a little bit different than what you're used to doing. So I'm going to take my 1-inch templates and we're going to just put this down like we always do. That down. We're going to move those, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler, and since this is that nice clear Tim Holtz ruler, I'm just going to mark 1 inch in the middle here. Okay. You can't really do this until you get the, paper on here, because I don't think you could probably get it exact. I think that would be a little bit hard. And then what we're going to do again is the center square where my pencil marks are. We're going to cut that out. you made my keepsake box and did the shaker top on it, this is essentially what we did on that one as well. Same basic process. Oops. Okay, doesn't have to be exact, it's fine. Okay. So once you've got that part out, then you're just going to come in here with your scissors. I'm going to use my little scissors because it will be a little bit easier. And you're just going to cut on an angle to that corner. Okay. And you're going to do that in all four corners. All right, so now that you've done that, we can just fold this just like you're going to fold your edges around the sides for the cover. We're just going to fold this back so that it gives it a nice finished edge. Not that you're going to see it inside the frame, but you'll know it's there. I don't know, for me, I like knowing it's there. So for that, we're going to take 1/4 inch score tape. We're going to go all the way out around the outside edge of our shaker. And then we're going to get it too on these inside pieces. Maybe. All right. So once you've done that, I'm going to go ahead and get the backing off of all of this once you've burnished it down good. Okay, and we're just going to go around with our glue and as soon as I figure out where my bone folder disappeared to, we're going to fold this over and down. And this one you really can't, they don't overlap, so it really doesn't matter what order you do them in. Okay, and again. And I know we've got a little bit of score tape hanging out back here. Honestly, it's not going to matter because you will mat the inside of this before you put down the acetate or the frame or any of that. So ultimately, it's not going to matter. All right. So from the front, there you go. And really, if you wanted to do something like this and just do a picture frame, this would be perfect to do it that way. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish. Fold and burnish. Fold and burnish. Okay. I cut out the corners. Cut out the square in the corners. And then you're going to check and make sure nothing's hanging over too far. If it is, miter it. Just like normal. There's still glitter. I broke my own rule and used glitter today. Shouldn't have done that. I keep finding it. It doesn't matter how well I cleaned up. This mat wasn't even down when I was using it. I'm still finding it. It's so pretty, but it's so evil. All right. So again, we're going to go around with our score tape. In frame there. Sorry about that. Okay. And the side I missed. So let's go ahead and get our backing off of all of our score tape. And then just like normal, we're going to use our glue. Push this up, over, burnish it down. Turn all the way around. Up and over. Burnish it down. And one last side. All right. Okay, there's our front cover. We're going to go ahead, do our back cover. And the rest of this is just the normal easy wrap method. So we're going to get our 1-inch spacers in there. Somewhere here, I'm going to find an edge of the score tape I can get hold of. Okay. There's that. And then our spine, we're going to go 1 inch on top and 1.5 on the side. should work for right now. Start with our cover. So just like before, we're going to fold and burnish. Fold and burnish. Okay, we're going to cut out the corners again. Clean up our corners. Okay. Get our tape down. Okay, and then just like before, get our backing off and get this wrapped, and then we'll do our spine. Alright, so there's our two cover pieces. I'm going to fold the spine just like we do with the cover. Just using that chipboard to bend it over. When it is a smaller spine, it's a little bit tricky because the spine itself kind of wants to bend. But just take your time and you can do it. Okay, so for the spine, we're not going to cut out the corner, we're going to cut out the triangle. So you're going to go from this score line to this score line. Line your scissors up and cut out that triangle. I'm going to do that on all four. our score tape again. All right, and get our backing off. Well, maybe. I'm really bad at burnishing, I just gotta tell you. All right. We're just gonna do the same thing again. Use our bone folder, push it up and over. You're going to turn it over. You're just going to work that chipboard or the cardstock down over that chipboard. Okay. Once you've done that, if it's bumping up at all, you can kind of see there's like a slight bump there. Just going to miter that ever so slightly so that's not sticking up off the top of your book. Well, in this case, the sides. Okay. So now, get our score tape again. Run it along that outer edge. You're going to run it on here about 1/8 of an inch away from the chipboard. And then just another small piece in the middle. Just to help it grab when we go to assemble everything together. You don't want to get too close to that chipboard because then you'll end up seeing your adhesive once the cover's on and you bend your book. Okay. Burnish that down one more time. I'm going to start with one side. You want the nice side facing up. Get the backing off. And then we're going to run glue in between our score tape. We're going to line this up. Just drag it off the edge. And then down it goes. Turn it over. Burnish it down on this side. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. But before we do this, because I did change slightly how we do this, we do need to take about 1/4 of an inch off of this side. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. I'm going to take about 3/8 of an inch off. So that you're not seeing that once we get this wrapped. Just let me see where that lines up on this side. Yep, I think that'll be okay. Okay. this up. And again, off the edge, and down, and burnish it down. Flip it over, burnish on the other side. And there's your base. Okay, so normally you have a piece that you put in here like so to reinforce this hinge area. Clearly, if you do it across, all the way across like that, it's going to be too long. So what you're going to do, you're still going to do it long. You could shorten it if you want to. I've got it 9 7/8 by 5 7/8, I think. For some reason, I cut it weird. You just want to go to the edge of that frame. Okay. So like right up almost to the edge of the frame. You could make this a little bit smaller. You could make this probably 4 inches and it would be just fine. I'm going to leave it as is and just have it come across further on the back side. That will be fine. Honestly, I mean, I think these are sturdy enough for the most part without really even putting this on here if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you. I am going to turn it this way, however, so I can see where I'm lining it up at. As far as top to bottom and side to side. Okay. I am going to burnish right along the front of that. Which again, this side is going to get matted. You're not going to see any of this because even after it's matted, you're still going to have, you know, a frame in here on top of it. So you're not going to see any of that. So as long as it doesn't run into your open space, you'll be fine. Okay. So then we're going to fold ever so slightly and work that crease. And then do the same thing on the opposite side. And since this is a smaller spine, you do want to be careful so that you don't bend that spine. And once you get that worked, then you should be able to bend it all the way over and work it down. And again, and there you go. Okay, so your 2 frames, you should have 2 pieces of 4x6 acetate, and I've got the tissue paper still on the back of mine so you can see what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do, as I figure out where it went, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch score tape, and I'm going to go around the edge of this frame like so. Okay, so that's going to sit right on top of there, and it's going to fill in the back of that frame. You're going to do that on both of these frames. And really, you probably want to keep this handy because when we put our other frames down in the book, this is actually the easiest way to do it so that you make sure you're not getting too much glue where you can't slip a photo in behind them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down, make sure that score tape is good and stuck down. If you've got 1/8 inch, I don't remember what the actual name of it is, but that red tape that's like really, really sticky, you can use that too. You do need tape for the acetate because glue will not do you any good. It will, as soon as it dries, your acetate will come right back off. So, and again, I'm leaving that on there just so you can see. When you go to do yours, go ahead and take that tissue paper off. I'm just doing this so you can see where it is that I'm lining this up. And as I say that, I'm worried that I'm not going to get it on here right. So I'm going to fold it back on one corner. Okay, and there you go. Got your acetate on your frame. Okay, so then when we go to actually put this in the book, we will run score tape again around anywhere that there's any kind of acetate that needs to attach, and then we can do glue over here on the chipboard. Okay, so that one's going to be on our front, like so. And then when you open it up, you're going to see just a little bit of the back side of this. And then your other one will come in here like this. Okay. And ignore my score tape that's running down the side there because that's just me trying to get it lined up. The only thing I have not done, and I think on this one, just because of the colors and everything in this, I think I'm actually going to leave it. I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. You could ink, paint, matte something the back side of this, so this piece underneath here. And all I would do with that, at least this is how I've done it in the past, is I just take a piece of the artisan cardstock and I glue this down. And then I just take my knife and I fussy cut it as close to the edge as I can get it. You won't see it from this side, but when it's peeking through from the back side, you're just going to see the brown. But because of the tones and everything in this, I don't think it's that noticeable. It's not as noticeable as the other one that I did that was similar to this. So I'm just going to leave it as is. So you can go ahead and put your acetate on the back of your other piece, just like before, and then you can set these aside because we are finished with these for right now until we get to matting. All right, let's work on pages. Okay, so let's work on the insides of our book, because quite honestly at this point, this is the hardest part of this whole project. The rest of this is so easy, you're not even going to believe it. So we're going to start all the way in the very middle of the book. You're going to have two flaps that measure 5 3/4 by 5 1/4. With the 5 3/4 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 7/8 of an inch. And you're going to do that the same on both. So 1/2 inch, 7/8 of an inch. Okay. So these are going to be on opposite sides, folding out that way. These are going to be on the very, very inside middle part of the book. The two flaps that go over those are going to be 5 3/4. Did I cut these wrong? I might have cut these wrong. Hold on. Nope. Okay, 5 3/4 by 5 7/8. So with the 5 7/8 side at the top, we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch on both. 1/2 inch, 1 inch. And again, these are going to open out like so. The next flap is going to be 6 7/8 by 9 3/4. With the 6 7/8 side on the top, we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 1 1/8. Okay, that's all you're going to do to that one. Okay, very first flap has a pocket on it, and we're going to do this all out of one sheet. So this sheet is 11 1/8 by 10 3/4. Okay, we're going to start with the 10 3/4 side at the top. We're going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 10 1/4. Okay, I'm going to turn this with the 11 1/8 side at the top. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, and then at 7 inches. Okay? Set that aside. We have a band that's going to hold our waterfall down. This is the only place we're going to be using a magnet. This is, and you could use a ribbon to tie this. In fact, actually, I think I might do, because I've got some really cool yarn and some twine and some stuff that I have with my little package here. So I think I'm actually going to use some of that instead. Forget the magnet. Forget I said magnet. This is going to be 8 3/4 by 2 1/2. 8 3/4 at the top. You're going to score this at 1/2 inch. And then we have kind of a bigger waterfall. You need 11 pieces that are 4 1/8 by 4 5/8. You're going to score at 1/2 inch with the 4 5/8 on the top. This is going to give you a 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 waterfall, which is where most of those little 4 by 4 cut parts are going to go. And don't do it like me. Take your time so that you're not having your scoring tool jump on you like mine just did. Okay, we're going to set our waterfall pieces to the side for now. Move that, and let's get this really big piece. Okay, so our pocket is going to fold up. Here's our hinges that are going to attach to the base of our book. What we need to do is cut out all of this here and all of this here, okay? And thankfully, I am using dark cardstock so you can actually see the way the light hits this where I'm drawing this, okay? So I am just gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut right along that score line. Actually, I'm not gonna do it with scissors because I want it to be good and straight, so I'm gonna actually do it with my paper trimmer. So I'm going to line this up on that score line, and I'm going to start up here at the top, and I'm just going to go down. And then all I have to do, and I cut over too far, so I will recut this. All I have to do is trim up and in. Okay? And do the same thing on the other side, but I just cut this in too far, so I'm going to recut this entirely and rescore it. All right. Okay, so this top section is going to be our pocket. We're going to fold that over. Okay, this is going to be our tab that we attach to the book. This is going to be our gusset for everything that's underneath this flap. We need to cut out those two sections right there. Okay, you can do this with your trimmer. Make sure you have it lined up correctly, because otherwise you're going to end up doing what I just had to do and recut this whole thing. Okay, then all I have to do is come in here and angle that, and there you go. Okay. And then we're going to angle. There we go. We're going to come in here. We're going to angle this top. Angle that bottom. And then here's going to be our pocket that's going to sit at the bottom of that flap. If you got anything hanging out over here, see, I've got just that little tiny piece hanging out. I come in here and angle that a little bit cleaner. My other side's okay. And I'm going to go ahead, fold those tabs in, burnish them down. And then that's going to glue onto there. Okay. Our other two tabs, the 1/2 inch is what's going to attach on the book, or on the folio, that is. I don't know that this is even really a folio. I'm not sure what you call this one. And then that's going to be our gusset. Okay. That's going to attach and flip back this way. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and put my pocket down. This way, doing it this way, where it's all one piece, just takes some of the bulk out of the pocket itself, because we're going to have a waterfall on here. We don't want to add any extra bulk to this. Okay. Now it's up to you if you want your waterfall to flip this way or this way. I want mine to go this way, so I'm going to attach my tab. And before I do any of that, I'm actually going to round my corners. So, okay, I'm going to do the 1/2 inch end on this because it is a bigger page. And then I'm going to do it on the end of my little closure here. But all I'm going to do is just center this up. We're going to miter the tops of this just a little bit. And you're just going to center it up on the far outside edge of that pocket. Okay, there you go. So the waterfall, of course, we're not going to miter. This is going to sit right on here like so. We are going to round the bottom corners. And on this first one, we are going to round the one corner with the flap folded in, just so that it matches up with the corner of the book. Okay, the rest of them you're just going to do these bottom two corners. Okay, all right, you're on a roll here. Let me get these all rounded before I completely forget, because I've been known to do that. And if you wanted to do something other than round these, if you've got some other corner punch that you like, by all means, use it. For that matter, the way we did this, you could extend it out a little bit and do an edge punch if you wanted to. I don't really have one that goes with this paper, so I'm not going to do that. Oops. All right. So let's finish putting our waterfall together. And if you wanted to shorten the waterfall, you absolutely could do that. You could start it partway down, you know, and then leave like a photo mat or something. It's entirely up to you. I did this one with lots of flaps. But you could even do this as a 4x6 and that would work. If you did it as a 4x6 instead of a 4x4 waterfall, you're going to do 7 flaps instead of 11. So, because I did toy with doing it that way and decided not to. Almost there. 3 left. Last flap. All right, so there you go. We'll do some tie closure on this one to keep this one closed instead of doing a magnet this time. But if you didn't want to use the tie closure, you absolutely could do just one large magnet set on this. That's all I did on the other one. On my original one. This was one I actually designed, I don't know, several months ago and then just have never done a tutorial on because I'm not even sure why. I've got like a couple of places that are kind of lifting on me here. Yeah, so when Tammy asked me if I wanted to do July's Craftology box, especially once I found out it was this paper, I was very excited because I'm like, I have just the project for this. All right, so you've got your pocket, you've got your waterfall. We're going to go ahead and do a tie closure. I'm going to wait for just a minute on that until we figure out for sure which paper we're going to actually mat this with. So this is going to go in our book like so. Okay. This will be, once it's matted, it will be heavy enough to stay down without any other kind of closure. I think originally I was going to do a magnet there, but it really doesn't need it because it's got more than enough weight. It'll be just fine. Okay. And you're just going to do that when you go to put it in there, which we'll do together. You're just going to put that all the way up against the spine. So this opens up, and this one folds this way. This flap is going to fold this other way. So this one's going to come down, and then we've got two sets that go out to the sides. Okay? So before we get too much further into that, let's go ahead and get our flaps matted, get our waterfall matted, and we actually can go ahead and mat the inside of the book. In fact, let's start with that. So the base is 10 by 6. I hope if I turn the ruler the right way. 10 by 6. So we're going to mat this at 9 7/8 by 5 7/8. Okay? So let's grab our paper that we reserved. So I know I'm going to want to keep this piece intact, so I'm going to set this one aside. I'm not going to use that one. That one would be okay, but we're going to lose all of that. So I think what we're going to use is going to be actually, I think we're going to use this one. Yep. All right, so I'm going to cut this down to 5 7/8. By 9 7/8. Okay, save your small pieces. You can always use them somewhere on tags, cards, other projects, what have you. Okay, so clearly we need to cut the middle out of this. So what I'm going to do is just very lightly trace where that's going to go. Okay, so just in case you missed, all I did is line this up approximately where it's going to be. So I've got my 1/16 of an inch border. Flip it over, and then just go around like that. Okay. And what I'm going to do, because I know that on the sides I have 2 inches. So I'm going to put this in my trimmer. I'm going to go to 2 1/8. 2 1/8? No, that's not right. Is it? No, 2 1/16. I'm sorry. Now so we're gonna get into the weird measurements. I apologize. And we're gonna cut not all the way to end, but we're gonna cut just a little bit of that section. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, we know our bottom and top were 1 1/8, so we're going to go 1 3/16. And again, I apologize for the weird measurements, but I promise it'll be worth it in the end. And I really don't think, and this is going to sound really weird, but I don't think I'm actually going to matte this front. I think I'm just going to leave it the plain brown because I love, absolutely love how this looks on here. It just, to me, it makes it pop. So I'm not going to matte on here. I'm just going to decorate around the edges. Okay, so we're not even going to do anything on the front. Unless you want to. If you want to, that's fine. You're just going to follow the same process that we're doing right now. So 1 3/16. Okay. And then you're just going to take your scissors and snip it to that last little bit. Okay, save that. You can always use that one somewhere else. We're just going to dry fit this, and we did need to make it just a touch bigger, and that was what I could not remember. Okay, and this part is always a little bit trial and error anyway. I know what I did. Okay, so it was 2 inches. You needed to go to 1 15/16. That's what I did wrong. I am so sorry. That's what I did wrong. I went the wrong direction when I measured. Okay, 1 15/16 on the sides. 1 1/16 on the top and bottom. Seriously, there's very good reason I don't do anything this complicated usually. I think I just went too far on the top, but it'll be okay. Okay, so yep, we're good. All right, sorry about that. We're still just a tiny bit off, but we're close enough. It's not really going to matter because that frame is going to be over the top of this. So I'm going to get my ink wherever it went. Go ahead and just ink my edges here. Don't need to worry about it on the inside, on that inside part, because that's getting covered up with the frame, so it's not going to matter. And I am kind of a messy inker. I don't necessarily care if it gets a little bit into the outside or the inside of my paper. I'm fine with that. So we're just going to go ahead and glue this down. That down. Okay. And so this one, we can go ahead and put this down if we wanted to. I still need to put my acetate on this. I'm going to wait for now because the very last thing we're going to do is the shaker element for this. And I think it's going to be easier if we have this one on the front, because then we can lay this piece completely flat to put our little shaker pieces in. Okay, so that's pretty much done for right now. We do need a strip to mat right here, but I'm going to wait on that until we've got some other things matted, because I'll probably have a scrap from somewhere that will look good that we can put right there. Okay, so I'm going to move that out of the way for a minute. We're going to find our 4x4 cut aparts. Okay, let's go ahead and trim those apart. All right, so you have 9 cut aparts. I want you to go through here, pick out your favorite 2 and set them aside, because we're going to make a couple of tags with them here in a minute, and they're going to go on one of the other pages. So find whichever your favorite 2 are and set those aside, and I think it's going to be those 2 for me. Okay, so that leaves us with 7. We have 11 waterfall pages. So what I'm going to do is find one of the sheets of the matching solids wherever I have managed to lose them. There we go. And we need 4 more 4x4 pieces. So I'm just going to cut like so. If you wanted to use some of the other pattern paper, you could absolutely do that. Okay, so I can turn one of those over, use that side. And in fact, I think I am actually going to use part of this one as one of my 4x4. Because that is really pretty. And I can actually use it on that side, which will look nice too. Alright, So we're not going to mount both sides of our waterfall. We're only going to mount one side. We're going to leave the back sides blank. So what I usually do when I'm going to do my waterfalls is I'll figure out which one I want on top. So in this case, I think it's probably going to be, that one. So because this one needs 4 corners rounded, I'm going to go ahead, oops, let's get it on the right size, and round my 2 sides and my bottom for this one. And go ahead and glue this one down. Now you absolutely could have done these before putting your waterfall down. I honestly am kind of on the fence. I've done it both ways, and I'm not sure which is easier when you're putting your waterfall down if they're already matted, because it does make them a little bit stiffer. But overall, I don't think I like it. All right, so now I know which one's on front. So now I can go, okay, I'm going to take this one next, and all I'm going to do is just kind of set them inside where they're going to go. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to be able to see, let's see, now I'm torn, which one do I want? It's going to be that side. Where I want them and how that little bit of that edge that you see is going to look. Somehow I have miscounted because I'm still short. What did I do? Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm just missing one. Okay. Oh yeah, I like that. That's perfect. All right, so now I'm just going to slip these out in the order that I'm putting them in the book. And the only one we don't have is behind here, which we'll mat that one probably a little bit later after we've kind of figured out what's going where. I'm just going to go ahead and get these corners rounded. All right, go ahead and get these down in the book. Okay, so you may be wondering why I didn't put my twine to tie this closed underneath here. I'm actually going to put it around on the back, because we'll mat this entire back piece just to give it a little more strength so that hopefully it's not going to pull loose on me. You could put it under this one. That would be absolutely fine, but I'm going to put it actually on the opposite side. So let's go ahead and finish matting. Well, maybe. As always, my glue has gummed up on me because I forget to put the pin back in it when I leave. But that's okay. To go pick up my son and feed him dinner, so. And really, it's the back side of this paper from the cut-aparts is really cute because it kind of looks like a Forest Service map. So really, if you had one of these that you didn't love, you really could just flip it over and use the back side, and that would be really nice too. Yeah, let's throw the paper around, why don't we? Good heavens. There are days I shouldn't be allowed to do anything, let alone record it. Today is one of those days. I don't know. I just have this like obsession with waterfalls. I don't know why. I always have, and I think I do know why. So when I was a little kid, my mom had old picture albums that were waterfall albums. So they were like 4x6. They might not have even been 4x6. They might have been smaller than that. I'm honestly not sure what size they were. Anyway, she had these old picture albums from like the 50s that were waterfall albums. And I always just thought those were so cool. And that was like one of the very first books I ever did, back when I was still doing ring bound. I put a little waterfall in it. And then I didn't do one again for a long time, just because, partially because I wasn't loving the ring bound albums. I figured there had to be something better out there than that. And then I finally discovered, oh, look at all these other things I could be making, and I don't need to, you know, track down binder rings for them and ribbon and all of this other stuff. And honestly, it took me from, you know, not having done a new mini album in several years to doing them again. So, and then here we are. Love that one. I will seriously probably be buying more of this paper because I just absolutely love it. It's so pretty. Okay. So we're going to wait and mat this piece underneath here after we get everything else matted. So I'm just going to come back in here and burnish this waterfall down really good. Nice and flat for us. All right, so for this top piece, we need a piece that is 9 5/8. We're going to tuck it down in here just a touch, so I think I'm going to go just 2 inches because it doesn't need to go all the way down in there unless you really want it to. I really don't, so we're not going to go all the way down in. Let me grab the paper. Now you're going to understand why I don't typically mat on camera. Because there's a whole lot of the shuffling around of the papers because I don't usually have it decided beforehand. And I think I want that one right there. So I'm going to cut 2 inches. And I totally forgot to ink all of those waterfall pages, didn't I? I did. It's okay. It happens. And then we're going to go 9 5/8. I'm going to turn that way. That's okay. We will resume inking now. Oh my gosh. There are days I just shouldn't be doing this, I'm telling you. Okay. So we're going to just dry fit this, make sure everything fits, which it should. And it does. Okay. Just lift that up ever so slightly so I can get this in here where I want it. Get lined up where I want it. There we go. Okay, so now for this piece, we need a piece that is 2 3/8 by 8 1/8. Actually, we need 2 pieces that size, front and back. And really, I think I am just going to continue this on down. So I'm going to say 2 3/8 and 2 3/8. Okay. And put this one on top. And we're going to flip it over and use the back side and put the back side on the back side of that band. Okay, so now, before we get too crazy, I'm going to go ahead and round my corners on this bottom piece and get this inked. And that one's going to go on this back side. We're just going to go ahead and dry fit it, make sure it lines up the way we want it to. And I did just snip the wrong ends of that, didn't I? You know what? I like that better. Okay. Alright, so on this one, we need to do the right end so that our paper's going the right direction. And we're going to ink again. Okay, now let's see which color we want to do. I think we're going to do the brown. I think I like that better right there than the green. All right, so what I'm going to do is get a piece of score tape, just a small one. And I'm going to go about 1/4 inch from the end. And I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to put this down on top of it. Okay. Then I'm going to glue this down over that. And then we'll end up putting something either from that banner sheet or the sticker sheet or something on the top of this. But for now, that's good. So I'm going to cut this at about right there. So that's maybe 7 inches. Yeah, about 7 inches, 7.5. Okay. I'm going to come on the back side and I'm going to do the same thing. Start about 1/4 inch in, get that score tape down, and then I'm going to put this down again. And again, we're going to go about 7 inches. Come back around on front. There is our cute waterfall all tied down, ready to go. So you can, if you want, mat these gussets on all of these pages. I think I'm actually going to leave it because I just love how this brown looks. I think I'm going to leave them for now. So we're not going to mat those for right now. We'll come back and probably mat this very last with a scrap of some kind. Okay, so we can go to the back side of this now. And this is going to get a piece that's 9 5/8 by 5 5/8. So, because we're going to mat all the way across with the whole thing, we need to decide which page we want to do. Because what we can do, because this will fold up and you'll still have this piece down underneath, we could take this piece and split it in half and put top and bottom and have it almost be continuous, which I think is what I'm going to do because I really like doing that, especially when it's really, really pretty pages like this. So we need to go to 9 5/8. I'm going to see where that's going to cut. If we want to do it from this end or if we want to do it from the other end. Nope, because I want that blue one on here. So we're going to do it this way. And save that because that's where I'm saying if you wanted to mat those gussets, this would be a good scrap piece that you could do that with. Okay, I'm going to take the branding strip off the top. And I'm going to start from the bottom. We're going to cut the mat for the bottom piece first. And that needed to be, let me double check. It should be the same, but just in case. So yes, 5 5/8 by 9 5/8. This one's also 9 5/8 by 5 5/8. So we're good there. I'm going to cut this one at 5 5/8, and that's going to go on here. Okay, and then I'm going to take this one to 5 5/8. Just zip that top off, and again, that's where we've got a piece. If we wanted to go ahead and mat those gussets, we could. Okay. All right, so this one is going to go on here. So we're going to round the top corners on this so that it matches. Go ahead and ink. can really see it on here, but it's there. Okay. All right, burnish that down. Especially over here on the side. That's where this glue tip is nice because we can get up underneath here and get a little extra glue right there. All right, so that page is complete except for the frame. So that's where we're going to grab our other frames again. And we're going to figure out which one we want to go on here. I'm kind of thinking this one. Oh no, that one. That's perfect. So what we're going to do, because you want to be able to put a picture back behind here. Okay. So when you glue this, you're going to stay as far out to that edge as you can. And then you can do all of this that sticks out. Same thing over here. You want to go as far out to that edge as you can and then get what sticks out. And then the same thing along the bottom. Okay. So see how I've got the glue on here? Now you're just going to turn it over and put it down. And there you go. Okay, so we're going to bring our book in. We're going to fold that gusset completely flat so that it's not in the way when we're trying to glue down this tab, because we want this tab not quite to where this bends, but almost. Okay, so you want to get it close, but not where it's hitting that. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way because I can tell better from this side. You're just going to center it up, get it almost all the way up there, and press it down. We can open it up and we can burnish. Okay, and push it back, and there you go. There's your first page. Your first flap, really. It's not even really a page. Okay, so we're going to move that out of the way. So we've got this side that we can do first. So we're going to go ahead and round our corners. Get it on the flap as well. And with ink, we'll go ahead and glue this one down. Okay. Let's see see, once we put this one in here and it's sitting like this, look how cool that is going to look, because it just continues on up there. I love it. All right, so back side of this, again, all we're going to do is mat, and then we're going to use another one of our frames. So what we can do is we can decide which frame we're going to use first. Okay, so we could use that one, we could use this slightly smaller one, but I think we're going to use this big double frame. Because again, we can always decorate. You don't have to put it centered. You could put it down to this corner, and then you've got, you can put other chipboard and other, ephemera or stickers or whatever around on this side, however you want to do it. But with that piece in hand and in mind, that's how we're going to choose what our next piece to mat is. And I really like that. That is really pretty. Or there's that's a little more subtle. I think I want the leaves. So again, to mat, it's going to be 5 5/8. By 9 5/8. Okay. And round our bottom corner. All right. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and glue that one down. And obviously you don't have to mat exactly like I am. You can, pick out your own combos. That's what's so nice about the Craftology box. We may give you a project to do, but it's up to you on how you decorate it. If you want to add something, take something away, whatever. The only thing that's going to be pre-cut for you is going to be chipboard typically. And other than that, it's up to you as far as how you do your project and finish it off. Okay, so again, and I think I am going to put it down to this bottom corner. So I'm going to do thin line and then all over out onto the part that sticks out, the little decorative part, and very thin across the bottom, very thin up that side. I'm not going to run anything across the middle because I may have the perfect 4x6 picture that's going to slide right behind there where you're seeing what you need to see on both halves, and that middle piece isn't going to matter. Who knows? But there you go. So that entire flap is done and ready to go down. And again, we're going to push this down so that our gusset is flat. We're going to use the page up above us to line it up, and you are going to go right down to the edge of that album. Okay, there you go. Okay, so there's those. Now we're going to move on to our 2 big flaps. So we've got 4 flaps that are going to go out to the side here. You have 2 large and 2 small. Okay, so for our 2 large flaps, we're going to go ahead and mat these. On the fronts, I used the 2x2 cut aparts to make just a very small tuck spot on each side. And this is where we're going to end up making our tags out of these because they're going to tuck into those. Okay, but we'll do that in a minute. So to mat these, I can find my, we need 4 3/4 by 5 3/8 for both of those. So we need 4 mats total for that. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the center part of this one. So this was 4 3/4. So that's what I'm going to cut first. It's 4 3/4. And then it's going to be 5 3/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eyeball approximately where 5 3/8 is right there and see what it cuts off the top. And I think I can live with that. I think that will be okay. If I go all the way up, then I'm losing part of that butterfly, and I don't want to do that. And if I go too far this way, if I go from there, then my 5 3/8 ends up being, I still end up losing part of that guy. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball where 5 3/8 is to line it up with this bottom. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to line this up over here. I promise I know what I'm doing. Okay, then I'm going to line it up to 5 3/8. Okay, and this piece might fit under that waterfall. I'm not actually sure. Yeah, not quite. But I might be able to turn it this way and make it work. But that's a good scrap to be able to do something like that with. Okay, so there's one. For the other side, I kind of want these birds. Okay, so again, I'm going to cut off the branding strip. Those are really pretty on the other side too, but we'll figure this out. So I'm going to go to 5 3/8. And then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to go 4 3/4. Okay, so there I've got my top mats. Okay, so I'm going to set those over there. So we still need to mat the back side. So for the back side, I think I am just going to use the other side of this. And again, we're going to go 5 3/8. Did I just do that wrong? I think I did. I did. This one's 4 3/4 this way. I knew I'd do it eventually. 4 3/4, and then go 5 3/8 the other way. Okay, so there's the back side. And for the opposite of that back side, we could do this. We can do this if this is the right. Oh, perfect. All right, so we're going to do this side again. So that was 4 3/4. Let's do it this way. So 4 3/4. And then we're going to go 5 3/8. Oh no, it's just slightly too small. All right, so let's try this again. Am I doing that right? Okay, we're going to save this for one of the small ones instead. All right, so what else have we got here? What haven't we used? Oh, we haven't used this one at all, so let's do this one. So we're going 4 3/4 wide. We're going 5 3/8 high. Actually, this ties in with that one really well. All right. So Bring both of these in. Oops. Get our page bases. Oh, there's my other one. I was like, I had 2 of these. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish. And we're going to round our corners. Okay. This one's going on our front, and I still have it the wrong size. How in the world did I do that? Did I do it with this one too? Oh, I did. I went 5 3/8 instead of 5 5/8. You know what? We're going to make it work. Yep, I'm going to just find a contrasting piece to put across the bottom here. Or I'm just going to leave a bigger border at the bottom because we're doing that tuck spot. Actually, I think that's how we're going to do it. All right, it'll be fine. Should have been 5 5/8, not 5 3/8. But that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. That's fine. There we go. All right, so then the back side, we're going to go ahead and round our corners again. And I forgot to ink again. Now do you understand why I don't ink my projects? Because this is what happens literally every time. I totally miss something, and then, which I can kind of get this because at least it's not going to show on my base paper, so we're good. And I don't need to get the end down here because something's going over the top of it, so that'll be okay. All right, back to where we were. I have to get different glue out because this is going to drive me nuts. It's doing it to me again. It's okay. So again, just going to center it up on here. Put it down. Okay. And really, that's fine. All right, and we're going to fold our flap over and burnish it. And then that one's ready to go down. We're going to do the other side. And again, of course I could trim off part of that, and I might actually do that just so it's not so wonky, because that's going to bug me. I think it's exactly what I'm going to do. Exactly what I'm going to do because that's going to bug me otherwise. So here's another tip. This is where it pays to mat beforehand, because then there's still ways to correct the boo-boos. See, much better. Oh my God. Seriously. Okay. So if I'm doing that on here, I need to take off. What did I cut this down to? Not quite 5 3/8, so we'll do it like this. And keep in mind, if you cut your matting correctly, you won't need to do this because yours will be fine. And yours will be perfect. And not a hot mess like mine is. I'm not even kidding. You literally know how, you have no idea how often I do exactly this. Like almost every project at least once. I do something screwy. But that's okay. It's handmade. It's not going to be perfect. And that's fine. Okay. Get our edges. Find my pen. We're going to try fight with this for a second. Here we go. I think I got the clog. I did. Good job. Yay me! Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. Around this. Ink it. And the clog has returned. That's okay. I think we got enough. All right. So we're going to go ahead and fold on our score lines and burnish. So these are going to go down to the outside edge. Oh, this is driving me crazy. To the outside edge of the book. And you're just going to center it top to bottom. And press it down. Okay. Same thing on the other side. And that's where I find it incredibly helpful to fold that gusset flat. Pretend that it is not there so that you can line these up exactly across from each other. Okay. So there we go. When they're folded up, they almost meet in the middle, which is what you want. We'll come back and decorate that in a minute. But we have another frame that we need to put down. And I think we can actually do it on one of the smaller ones if we want to too. Because my prototype had two small ones like this, and I've got like one odd-sized one, so I think it's going to end up going in the middle and the bottom, and that's fine. And we'll figure out which page we want to put this one on. Okay. So as it stands right now, everything folds up like so, and then your book closes. And I think we're actually going to do a tie closure on this time. All right, so our other two pages, these are going to be matted at 4 3/4 by 5 1/8, which is where that one's actually going to fit. Okay. So we've got 2 of those. So let's see here. Yeah, that'll look good. So what haven't we used yet? We've got that pretty one. We've got this with the butterflies that I absolutely love. So let's do, I'm going to just double check my measurement one more time so we do not have a repeat. 4 3/4 by 5 1/8. So I'm going to go to 4 3/4 on this one. And 5 1/8. And there we go. And then I'm going to go to 5 1/8 again. And I will use the back side of that one. Oh, this is hard because I love all the mushrooms. But I love this too. That's okay. Alright, so let's see here. We can put these 2 side by side. And we need something that's going to contrast nicely with that one. Mushrooms kind of, don't love them. Let's look at, what else have we got going over here? Nope. That one's not bad. Oh no, not the stripes. Okay, so let's go. That's 4 3/4. We'll go 5 1/8. Except I want it from that end. There we go. That's what we'll do. Okay, so gonna go ahead and round our corners again. Okay, there's our front. And there's our back. Do the other side. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Just double check whether that's what I really want. Okay. And there we go there. Now we'll ink. All right. Okay. Get the other side. So now we will go ahead and fold and burnish our score lines. Okay. And this one is where we're going to put that frame. Put it a little crooked. I think I'm going to do just a little bit crooked. Same thing again, you want to keep that glue on those sides as far out and as thin as you can, because most of the holding on is going to be done by that bigger piece. Okay, all right, so let's bring our book in. We're just going to do this one right on top of the other one, go right almost to that score line. And then just center it up underneath that flap. You're going to have about 1/8 of an inch top and bottom that's different. Unless, of course, you measured your matting right, in which case you'll have about 1/4 of an inch top and bottom difference. All right. So now we can mount this bottom inside. And all we're going to do is measure from flap to flap. I had it right the first time. Okay, so we're going from there to here. And we're still right about 9 3/4. Okay, so we're going to go 9 3/4 by, and this should be fairly close to 5 3/4. So perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. So for that, looking to see what I've got here that directionally is going the right direction. And this is where I can put those mushrooms in there, so then that frame gets lost on them. But that's very boring. We may find this frame a different home. So I've got one there. It really could go down here. And I think that's what we're going to do with it. All right, so 5 3/4. By 9 3/4. And that's going to sit down in here underneath everything, hiding in the dark, much like mushrooms. Okay. And there you go. And then in and in. And there you go. You're pretty much done. We just need to do some decorating and do our front. And that's where I said if you wanted to mat these gussets on here, you absolutely can. I may end up going back and doing that. And then we need to mat this little piece right here. So this is, we're going to go 7 7/8 by 9 7/8. And I think I'm just going to do, okay, so there's our 7/8. And our 9 7/8. And I am going to turn this over and use this side of it. That down. Perfect. All right, so for the front, this little guy needs to go down on here. We need to get our little shaker stuff in here. So all you've got is the width of your chipboard for your shaker element to go in. And I don't have the actual one that you guys are going to get in your box. So I think I'm just going to use this one, and I'm going to take that little St. Patrick's Day hat out of it. But we need a little bit more space. So what we're going to do, and this is optional, you can just put it down just like that and have it be a little bit tighter in there, and that's fine. I am actually going to pop this top piece up just a bit so that we're sure it's going to fit the way I want it to fit. So because I do a lot of shakers, I have some very, very thin foam strips. These just, I don't even know where I got these. Probably Amazon. I'm honestly not sure. I've had them forever. And if you're going this route, where you're adding some foam, you want to make sure that you're not going over into that area where you can see it, first off. And you want to make sure that it touches. Okay. So when I go to put this one down, it's going to go right up against the one next to it. Because if you have any gaps, your filling for your shaker will leak out. And you don't want that. And the other fun part to this is going to be making sure you don't see that foam, like right here where it had a mind of its own and kind of crept to one side. Making sure you don't see it from the opposite side. So I am going to just kind of hold this on here and make sure while I'm still where I can move that. Kind of like this piece is not quite right, so I'm just going to sacrifice it and try again. more time, and you're not seeing any of that white. So now I know I've got it in the right place. We are going to go all the way over here to the edge of the acetate. So there was part of it that's going to, you know, kind of shake when you're looking from the front underneath, but from the back side you'll see it. So okay.
I have these ones.
Have what? What is that? No, they're not candy. They're cupcake decoration sprinkle things.
The big cupcakes?
Not right now. Okay.
I want to make something upstairs. Like make like some food. Make food now. Can make some food.
Can you what?
Make some food.
No. You just had dinner? Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So we're going to just test it one last time. And that one needs to come over. Darn it. I was afraid of that. I need just a tiny piece to fill in right there. Okay. Check it one more time. And I think we're okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the backing off of this. Before I go any further, however, I probably should have done this beforehand, and honestly, I think a dryer sheet works better for this. But you need to make sure you do something, either an anti-static tool or something, to make sure that that's not gonna get all, that your stuff's not gonna static cling to the inside of your shaker. Okay? And if you've got any dust in there, wipe that out before you put it down. And we are just going to line this up. And because I am doing it with the foam, I'm actually going to come from the back side, or look through from the back side as I line this up, to make sure I'm getting it where I want it. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to push that down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my acetate on the back side of this one. Except that piece is in the wrong place, so I am actually going to pull that off. And this is where I was talking about you can, again, really you could even take something like that and mat underneath here on the back side, which I think we're actually going to do just so I can kind of show you how to do that now that I'm thinking about it. So let me get the backing back on this score tape really quickly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to glue. You do have to give it a minute to dry before you start trying to trim it. But I'm just going to go like that. And then all you do is you take your craft knife and you just run it along next to the chipboard. And actually, I don't want that one for this one. I want one of my little ones. Okay. So what you're going to end up with is this little matted piece on the back of your frame. Be careful not to catch your frame itself or the elements of your frame.
Mama,
What?
Music on my iPod.
Huh?
There's music on my iPod.
No.
No.
Go take a shower. In case you haven't seen these before, this is a pen blade. They carried them at Hobby Lobby for a while. I honestly haven't bought them for a while, so I don't know if they still carry them there, but they do have them on Amazon as well. But they're like scalpels, literally, but they have a little bit of flex to them. So when you're doing something like this, or like the wood things from Foundations Decor, works really well. Okay. All right. So now that back piece of this is matted. So when we put the acetate on here, and I am going to run this straight down this side and straight across on this side. When we put our acetate down on here, and then we put it down on here, and you see it through the back side, you're seeing those leaves. So we did not do that on this one. I don't know that really at this point we can go back and do it. It would be entirely up to you if you wanted to go back and do it. I see a spot I missed when I was trimming. Because on this inside piece, we can always come in here with one of the stickers or the chipboard, ephemera or something, and cover up that side of it, and you're not going to see it. Okay? So I'm going to take my score tape as soon as I figure out what happened to it. 1/4 inch is going to be too big. So I want my 1/8 inch, wherever it disappeared to on me. And we're just going to go around this on the acetate. Because over here where it's just chipboard, we're going to glue. We're going to get this prepped, and then we're going to go ahead and put our shaker fill in there. Okay. I'm going to set that out of the way for a minute. Come in here, lay that flat. And like I said, you're getting a really cute one that has like some little leaves and stuff in it. It's got some other colors than just the green in it. It's going to be really, really cute. So this one, I'm just going to shape some of my stuff out here. I'm going to pull out that little St. Patrick's Day doohickey. Okay. And I think I'm actually going to dig in my stash. Give me just 1 second. Where did I put my stash? There it is. Okay, so we've got some green and some white. Let me find some kind of, it's almost too bright. I might not have one in my stash that's going to work. I really don't. We're just going to go with the green and white. The one that Tammy has found for you guys for your kit is going to be about perfect. So no worries. Okay. Now, if you're really picky, you can come in here and flip over some of these little jewel thingies so that they're, you know, facing towards the front. You've got some facing towards the back. It's up to you how picky you are on that. Honestly, I don't ever care. So, all right, so we've got our shaker stuff in there. Now we are going to take our other piece and get the backing off of the score tape parts. You're going to want to be careful when you do this. Make sure you're not moving this or you're going to have shaker stuff everywhere. Ask me how I know. I once had to pull apart a shaker because I had stuff that got stuck where it wasn't supposed to be. And it was an absolute disaster. I had stuff everywhere. Okay. So you're just going to press that down. There's your shaker. How cool is that? Okay, so now we can get some tie on the front here. We can do all of our decorating, which is going to be cute, you'll see. But I'm going to take just a minute and kind of clean up and reset, and then we will decorate. All right, we are in the home stretch. Let's go ahead and get our ribbon on the front. So what I'm going to do is just find my midpoint. Not quite. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and get backing off of there. And I'm just going to push that end up underneath the edge of that frame and push it down on the tape. We're going to turn it over to the back side. I'm going to take another little piece and ruler again. There we go. Okay, and I've got our mat for the back cut. So that's going to go on there just like that. That down on there. And then got my piece for the spine. The piece for the back was 9 7/8 by 5 7/8. This piece is 9 7/8 by 7/8. Actually, I think I want a hair bigger than 7/8 because it always seems to look small when I do it on the spine like that. I don't know why. So I think I actually probably did 15/16 instead of, so just shy of an inch. Okay. So what we're going to do up here is from this banner sheet, we're going to take this one. We are going to add it up here in this corner. I do need a couple pop dots, foam dots, or whatever you want to call them. I know when I first started doing this, there was a specific brand that was pop dots. I'm actually going to turn this around so I can kind of see where I need the foam dots at. Foam squares, foam dots, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so there. And I probably need one small one up here. One or two small ones up there. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to find, where did it go? What we can do on the front here, I'll kind of leave that up to you. Really, we can take this other twine and just kind of run some glue and just kind of zigzag it around. I'm going to think about that because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do. We can also take some of our chipboard pieces and get those popped up on here as well if we wanted to. For now, I'm going to leave this as is because I don't know that I want a whole lot more on here. Like I said, I may just take some of that twine and just kind of squiggly, you know, kind of rope looking. I think it would look really neat kind of doing that along the front here and the bottom off to the side. Kind of like so. I'm going to think about that. We'll move on to the inside in the meantime. So, I did end up pulling this up just a tiny bit and tracing and cutting out a piece to mat the back of that because that was really going to bother me. And I should have done it from the first get-go, but, you know, stuff happens. You miss things. So, on the inside here, we're going to put this down on the inside. So it is sticky backed. I always glue down my chipboard just to make sure it's going to stay where I want it. And really that could use a couple of pop dots underneath it because it's not sitting quite flat enough. So I am going to stick a couple of them on the bottom here. Just to make sure. Okay. Oh, much better. All right. So that's going to go down there. I think up in this corner, I'm just going to hit it with a couple of these. And see, really, we can even add that one in here. And we can add this one off to the side here. If we wanted to, along with, I had another one ready. There's another one of those little butterflies. Where'd he go? I've lost him over here somewhere. We'll come back to that because I'm not sure where my other chipboard piece went. All right, so on this, you have two options here. There's this little one on the banner sheet, or there's the slightly longer one that's on the sticker sheet. And I think that's the one I really want on here. Because it just kind of, it will look nice. You could pop this up if you wanted to. I'm actually just going to glue it down flat. I think that little bit of red there is just perfect. Okay. We still need to mat this little piece in here. And for that, I need a piece that is going to be 4 inches, I know that much for sure, by 4 3/4. So, I can take something like this, one of the cut aparts, or even better, I can take that part of the cut apart, okay, and then I can add another little piece next to it. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Somewhere here I had a piece in mind. Of course, now I can't find it. There we go. Alright, so this piece, we can either go just to the edge there where you would with like a normal waterfall, or we can go all the way across. If I go all the way across, I'm going to want 1 3/4. We're going to flip it over. I gotta say, I like it better that way. Okay. Alright, so that page is done. There's my butterfly. He just blended in so nicely. I didn't even see him. Tie that. Okay. These two we really don't need to do anything to. The frames really are enough. What we could do, because we do have all of these cute little word stickers down here, is just add a couple of those. Let's say like that. Keep that very simple. Okay, so here is where we're going to do just that little kind of tuck spot. So what I've done is I've taken the 2x2 cut aparts. I've just cut a strip that is 2 inches wide, cut it to the right length, and all I'm going to do, once I ink it of course, is just run a very thin line of glue around 3 sides and then put it down. We're going to leave this one as is. Our tag for that, we're going to do, it doesn't matter. I'm going to ink the edges of this. And then all I've done is I've just cut a little 4 1/8 and 4 1/8 mat. I can't even talk. And then we can just loop a little tiny piece of this in here. I'm going to do it like so. I'm going to get a little piece of score tape. I'm actually going to do it on the back of this to make sure it gets lined up where I want it. No, 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 no. Cat had the pin from the glue bottle. That's not a good thing. And then I'm just going to loop this over like so. Okay. And then I'm going to glue this onto my little tag. And really I should have done that out to the side, not at the top, but that's okay, because it will still tuck in here just perfectly. And we're going to put our other one over here. So again, I've just done the same thing. This one needs just a tiny bit more trimmed off. There we go. And again, we're just going to do a very tiny bit of glue. And just line it up on there. And down it goes. Okay. Alright, so then we're going to do the same thing with our other tag. I'm going to just put a little bit of score tape, and this one I think I will do it off the side. And we're going to do, on this one, I think we're going to do the brown instead. Just make that tiny loop. Press it down, and then glue. Okay, that's going to tuck right in there. Okay, so I'm not going to put anything else on that one. We can put something down here, so we can do, let's see here. Let's do that one. We're just going to do that because it doesn't need much. The frame is enough. Okay, on here, let's find that little sticker. I think I'm going to find a piece of scrap of cardstock that I'm just going to mount this on. And then we're just going to do a little fussy cutting around it. And if you don't want to do that, you can just put it down as is. It's fine. I know not everybody likes to fussy cut, and apparently today I'm just not even able to do that because, oh dear Lord, that got really screwy. Oh well. Again, it's handmade. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. All right, so I am going to put that down, I think over here. I am just going to glue along the bottom because this is just going to be a tuck spot. We're going to put that one over here. And then on the other side, we've got just a little circle. Let's see what size this is. And I'm going to punch out a circle and put it on. Okay. Excuse me. Helps when you actually, you know, get it out of the punch. Again, we're just going to do a little bit on the bottom. This will be a tuck spot on the other side. Okay. In here, let's do I actually kind of want that whole thing instead of just the... No, I want you to stay in one piece, little sticker. Dang it. Okay. Alright, so we're just gonna improvise here. I'm going to get my powder to de-sticky it, which I really hate that stuff, but it works. We're going to put that down, but we're just going to stick the bottom. And then I'm going to take him, I'm going to stick him in that upper corner. Put that one down on the bottom. Okay. This side, I think I am just going to find, I thought I had just a mushroom somewhere. There he is. I use that little chipboard mushroom. Since they are sticky backed, I'm actually only going to pull the little sticker off the bottom and put glue on that. And then leave the other part on so you can still stick something back behind there. So for right here, we really could take one of these big banners and trim an edge down and put that down in here. But I think I'm just going to leave it like that because all we're going to do at this point is you're just going to take your cut-aparts, whichever ones you want, as many as you want. If you want to do just blank photo mats, you want to do, you know, brown with like the linen cardstock photo mats, however you want to do it. And that's all that's going to sit in here because this is all going to fold in and it's going to keep all of your little photo mats safe and secure. So you've got a pocket up here you can put stuff in, which that's too big, so that's not going to work. And stick that cut apart in there. I could go through and cut out the rest of my cut aparts. For now, I think I'm going to just leave those in there as they are. I'm not sure which pieces and parts Tammy's going to use on her project. I'm sure you're going to have extra. It seems like you always do with the, no, I know I'm going to do with that one. I'm going to cut it in half. With the Craftology box, I know you have more than enough for 2 complete projects and possibly a third. So we're going to just tuck that in there. I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to drop this one down in here. And there you go. All right, so back to this little piece that I'm not sure how I want to do this. So I can put some little greenery up there. We can layer him there, and we can add him. Just not sure if I really want to. Or we can leave that as is, and we can come add some of this out here. Oh, I like that. Do I have another one of those? I don't. All right, I'm liking this. This is better. Okay, so we're going to put those chipboards down like that. And then we are going to add, I have one other one. I have a sticker that we can use. So I think we're going to do the sticker up that way. Okay, so that one's going to kind of go in there. Like so. And then this chipboard one is going to kind of come up that way. Perfect. Okay. And that's good over there. On this side, we're going to put this one kind of coming out like so. We're going to put him down there. That's fine the way it is. And I think we're going to add nope, don't like him. Want something else. I'm just not sure what. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. All right, and that one we need a couple of foam squares. There they are. All right. And there we go. We are finished. So I really hope you like this project. This was my first time doing the Craftology box, and I realize it's another tutorial, but I was a little bit nervous just trying to make sure that this was a really good one. So, all right, so we're just going to tie that off. And we're done. And there's your project.